Welcome to the Street Dog Podcast, brought to you by the Street Dog Coalition. We are an international nonprofit providing free medical care and related services to pets of people experiencing or at risk of homelessness. I am your host, Daria Tavana, and I'm also the Director of Development at the Street Dog Coalition. And here on the Street Dog Podcast, we explore the world of animal welfare through the eyes of experts, street dog vets, and volunteers. We share inspiring stories, provide updates on our work, and give you an inside look at the challenges and rewards of working to improve the lives of animals belonging to people experiencing or at risk of homelessness. So if you're tuning in live on Facebook, it is great to have you here. Go ahead, drop an emoji in the comments, say hello, don't be shy, let us know where you're tuning in from, and don't hesitate to ask a question if you feel inspired to. And if you're listening on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or YouTube, please make sure you're following the Street Dog Coalition on Facebook so you can also tune in live every episode, which will give you an opportunity to engage with us in real time, which we love to do. So, the mouthful is out. Before I introduce our special guest, I want to take a moment to introduce my co-host, Dr. Hillary Wheeler, Medical Director of the Street Dog Coalition. Hillary, say hello.
Hello. So happy to be here again.
Yay, Hillary. We love having you here. Your perspective and your expertise and your lovely sense of humor is always a fabulous addition to these episodes. So thank you, Hillary. I know you are busy and it's always really fun to have you on the pod.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
It's one of my favorite things.
Love it. Yay. I did not tell her to say that. She said that on her own free will.
I did. And as I said before, with one of my favorite people. So even better.
Never gets old. Never gets old. I'm wondering, is there someone behind me? It's just me. Thank you, Hillary. The love is mutual. I really appreciate it. And guys, super excited for today's episode because it's just family today. So on today's episode, we have Sarah O'Day, DVM and team lead of the Colorado Springs Street Dog Coalition team. And before I let her say hi, I am going to give you a little bit of a rundown about Sarah. So growing up, Sarah always knew that she wanted to become a veterinarian, which I feel like is a childhood dream of so many people. But unlike so many people, Sarah followed through. So as her parents witnessed, she began to collect stray animals and made them her family pets. And her thought was that every animal should have a safe place to call home. She was able to accomplish her dream in 2014 when she graduated from Texas A&M's College of Veterinary Medicine. And a year later, she moved to Fort Carson. And as she says, the rest is history. So she was introduced to the Street Dog Coalition by her inspiring friend and colleague, Dr. Lauren Seal. And now Sarah is the team lead of our Colorado Springs team, and she is truly one of our most cherished volunteers. So I want to welcome you officially to the podcast, Sarah.
Thank you. I'm very, very excited to be here. This is my first foray into podcast realm. So I'm very, very excited. Ooh. And I couldn't have asked for a better host and co-host. So thank you both.
Oh, yay, Sarah. Sarah, it's so nice to have you here. We really appreciate it. And I know that that it means a lot to our audience and a lot to our fellow volunteers and to our donors and supporters to hear from individuals like you who are on the ground doing this meaningful work, helping individuals, helping pets. And I just want you to know that I'm really grateful for you, and our entire community would not be the same without you. And you really are just the lifeblood of our organization. So thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. No, that's really sweet. And I really, really appreciate all the support. This is a great organization with a very solid foundation, with so many layers of staff, volunteers, and just helping hands. And it was very easy to come on board having you guys assisting all around me. So I really appreciate it, truly. Thank you.
Yay. We're happy to have you, Sarah. Really, we are. And maybe we can just dive in here. So I have a few questions and let's just get started. So take us back a little bit and tell us, if you don't mind, what inspired you to become involved with the Street Dog Coalition, and how did that evolve into you taking on the role of team lead for the Colorado Springs team?
Yeah, so it's kind of it's an interesting little path that I was started on. So you've mentioned Lauren Seal in your intro, and she basically was the kind of catalyst that got me involved within the Street Dog Coalition. So Lauren and I met in the Army. We were both active duty. Lauren still is, actually. And we were in the same unit, stationed at Fort Carson. And we quickly became, fast friends. And Lauren is one of those people that she really has just a service-oriented heart. She loves helping others, whether it's pets, humans, whatever it may be. She is your go-to gal for just lending a helping hand. And so she actually got started with the Street Dog Coalition. And to be honest, I'm not sure how Lauren heard about you guys. She probably just was doing her own research and came upon y'all like via Facebook or something. And so she started inviting me to some of her clinics to kind of assist as another veterinarian. And then I did, I think, at least 2, maybe 3 veterans stand downs with her, and really kind of understood what the Street Dog really encompassed and its mission and everything of that nature. And unfortunately, Lauren, she got unfortunately for us, not so much for Lauren, but she got stationed now in overseas in Italy with the Army. And so she's probably living her best life. We do keep in contact. We were actually just speaking yesterday. And so she's doing awesome. But when she was in that transition period of leaving Fort Carson and onto her next duty site, it was really important to her for somebody to kind of carry the torch that she had started. And so by way of that, I kind of came on board as the new team lead, so to speak. And I've just been trying to fill in her shoes ever since. She has a smaller shoe size than me, but that somehow doesn't matter. She's a phenomenal person. And so I'm trying to do right by her and the group that she started. But that's how I initially got introduced to the Street Dog Coalition. It was very casual and just kind of like, hey, do you want to come help me volunteer?
Oh, I love that story.
Yeah.
This is what's so fun about the Street Dog Coalition podcast, is getting to know one another. We all interact, as you said, on a regular basis online, but to actually hear one another's background and your origin story and how you really got involved. And I have to say, shout out to Sarah. She's one of our most active and engaged team leads. And like all of us, is volunteering her time, but is so passionate about both the people and the animals that she cares for at her Street Dog clinics. We're so appreciative of you. And I love your story. It's so great to hear that.
Thank you. That's so nice. Thank you. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, Sarah, I think what the common thread is, between you and a lot of the other individuals who dedicate their time and their energy to helping the Street Dog Coalition, is there's just this like natural orbit that kind of pulls you in to this organization. And I found that, kind of like what you were talking about, that you've always kind of wanted to be, you've always been of service in some way, shape, or form in your life. And I just really appreciate how I feel like our paths were destined to cross. Like there was this need, there is this need that the Street Dog Coalition fulfills for its clients, but I also feel like there's this need that the Street Dog Coalition fulfills for our volunteers like you. It's this outlet to make an impact in your community and to help pets and people in a way that you might not get the opportunity to help them with, otherwise. So it sounds like that was kind of your experience, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, no, definitely. It's really been a great way to like kind of to mesh my skills as a veterinarian with like volunteering and philanthropic work and just kind of networking within the community. And it's been great. And I have a solid team of volunteers representing multiple clinics and hospitals, and it's just been wonderful. Like whenever they come, they're always like, oh, this is so great that you do this. And I appreciate those comments, certainly, because I am volunteering my time, but I tell them, like, I truly couldn't do this without you guys. Like, there is no way I could come out here and set up shop and even attempt to get all these animals, examined, vaccinated, have, meaningful conversations with their owners and follow-up plans if there weren't, like, 10 people in the background, scurrying behind me as I'm like writing the rabies certificate, so it really is a team effort. And I am truly grateful to have such wonderful volunteers on my side. So yeah, they and you guys really make it as easy as could be for a volunteer program, if you will.
That's amazing. And I'll let Hillary layer in some commentary here, because when you say you guys make it as easy as possible to volunteer, it's really Hillary that makes it as easy as possible to volunteer.
Well, thank
I
you,
don't know if I'll
Hillary.
take that much credit, but well, one thing I love about my role as medical director is I still get to be a volunteer out in the field doing my own clinics in the Bay Area. And what Sarah just said is it absolutely spot on, as we so depend on our volunteers, the medical and non-medical, to help us help more people and their animals. And we really couldn't do it without them. I mean, I have a clinic coming up this Sunday, and I'm the only doctor, but it's okay because I've got several great people with skilled hands that I know they're going to support me and back me up. And they'll just, as you said, come across with the rabies certificate. I just sign the dotted line, do whatever they tell me to do. So I love that element of it. And absolutely, we never want to forget to appreciate how much we love our volunteers, and really couldn't do it without them. And that's a huge part of our organization in general, is just that unbridled collaboration. And that's part of what we're doing, even on the most grassroots level, whether it's with community partners or whether it's with volunteers from various clinics, or even just people that hear about us and want to join in. So I so appreciate you bringing that up. And yeah, my role is to try to support you and other team leads when questions come up. And Sarah and I were just exchanging emails in the last 24 hours because she's got a situation where someone in need has contacted her, which happens to our team leads all the time. Whether or not people come to clinics, they start hearing about us and they reach out to us for help when they need it, which is beautiful that they trust us. They seek out our advice. And of course, Sarah, jumped right in and already got several people to donate towards helping this particular cat and trying to figure out all the logistics. And it's just amazing. And like I said, you really are one of our most engaged volunteers. Everyone's incredible, but I know you give a lot of your time. And I have to say, I had no idea you're a veteran as well. And, Veteran Stand Down is one of our big programs that we really encourage teams to get involved with. And they host various larger size clinics where they're supporting veterans in the community. And a lot of those veterans are experiencing homelessness. And so we try to collaborate whenever possible to provide free veterinary care for their animals. And we all know how important that human animal bond is, but especially for that particular population of people, their animals are what give them the ability to carry on, and they're really the lifeline. So thank you for your service, but also for getting involved locally with those events. I know that it takes a lot of moving parts to put that on, and that's what people don't see, is what our volunteers are doing behind the scenes. They're literally moving mountains to make these things happen and get enough volunteers so they can do it. So yeah, it's just a great way to see, to our audience, to see what sort of things Street Dog Coalition does and all the different layers that are involved.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Hillary. Sorry, go ahead, Sarah.
Oh no, I just said very well said. Yeah, very true.
And maybe, Sarah, can you shine a light on some of the, I know you were talking about, or Hillary was mentioning how you recently reached out to Hillary for support, which we love to hear. Can you maybe share some of the challenges that you've faced, even if it's just one challenge, while working with unhoused pets in Colorado Springs? And maybe you can tell us how the Street Dog Coalition helped you kind of address one big challenge or maybe a series of challenges.
Yeah, a couple, I think the main one is getting, with owners' permission, and educating these owners and them agreeing to it, is getting their pets spayed and neutered. That's a really, really big one, because it kind of stops the escalation of more puppies, more kittens, more whatever, the case may be, and then educating the pet owners on why it's so important to do so, not only just for the pet population control aspect of it, but then for medical reasons as well. Neutering helps prevent testicular cancer, spaying helps prevent infections of the uterus, things like that we kind of just don't think about. We get so focused on the litter of puppies or kittens that we kind of forget that, yeah, medical issues can come out of it as well. And so that was a big one from the get-go, because most, not all, but most of the animals that I've seen are still intact. So they either still have, their uterus or their testicles, and they're definitely able to procreate and duplicate, if you will. And they're pretty good at it. So we're really trying to combat that. And thankfully, most of the pet owners have been very open to that discussion. I've had a couple who, not so much resistant, that's not really the right word, but were, adamant that they wanted this litter of puppies. They wanted that experience. And we try and discuss with them, well, what is your plan for the puppies? You're going to have more than one. So what are you thinking, or where are they going to go? And try and just lay out the logistics of that. And also, what's your backup plan if during the delivery there's an issue? Where are you going to take mom? And so, kind of working through that and figuring out the best way. Street Dog has helped in the sense of basically, giving me the advice to, hey, like, get a partnership with a low-cost spay and neuter clinic. And that can really help out, because it takes off a lot of the pressure off of me as the team lead, to be able to say, hey, here's this cool free voucher. All you have to do is get your pet there, and I'm more than happy to help. And it kind of just, for, I would say, 85% of the cases has really just alleviated that issue. And I've been really fortunate to get a partnership. It's Hamlet Spay and Neuter Clinic, and they're wonderful. And so they've been great, and the staff there has been awesome. And yeah, so that's really kind of taken that sort of issue, if you will, off my clipboard. So, and most of the pet parents are more than willing to do it. It's just they didn't know they had that resource available to them. So that's kind of been the biggest one. The secondary one that I've more recently run into with these kind of surgeries and getting things set up is communication. It's not always easy with folks who are constantly on the move, who may or may not have access to reliable and stable communication, to get in touch with them, whether it be just to say, hey, and check in, or to follow up on like a medical case. And so I've kind of been, trying to figure out ways to do that. And one of the ways I've thought that might help alleviate that problem is to kind of pre-plan my clinics. So to try and have dates set up a month or two in advance. And so I just started doing that. And again, I couldn't do that without my volunteers being willing to like take a look at their personal lives and be like, yeah, I can donate, a Saturday to you to do this. And it's like 2 months down. So I'm hoping that by giving these folks kind of a stable timeline to move forward on, that even if we can't connect via email or mainly email, or in person, we can at least meet at these clinics. So that I'm hoping that helps the problem of that one. Yeah.
Absolutely. And, Sarah, I think you also touched upon something that's so important, and what we really value at Street Dog Coalition is we want to take the time to educate. And with spay neuter, a lot of times it's just people didn't realize that there are health risks, or they're not thinking ahead that if that litter of puppies or kittens is not able to find safe homes, then what will happen to them? And so thinking about all of that with our help, and that's a lot of why we at our clinics, we do rely on those volunteers, so we have time to actually really have a point of contact with the owner and really talk about all of the things with regards to their pet's health, but also educating them on some of those topics, and then finding those partners in the community that can actually provide it. And I know we've talked about this before on the podcast, but that's one of the things, Street Dog Coalition, with the funds we raise, we are able to pay for spay and neuter for these animals. And we do really depend on those partners that are willing to provide those services at a discount. We absolutely couldn't do it without them, but having that in place, and then for us having that ability to say, yeah, no problem, we can cover the cost of those patients coming in and getting that surgery done. That's so critical to our operations and to the general welfare of these animals. And then having those recurring clinics. We only ask for a minimum of 4 per year from our team leads, but the vast majority do way more than that. And whether that's monthly, every other month, even every week in some areas, going to different locations. I mean, again, so many moving parts behind the scenes that our team leads are absolute superheroes with finding ways to make that all happen. And then the communication, no one really thinks about the fact that not only are we showing up on that day, but we're really working hard to continue to communicate with pet parents. And a lot of our teams have Google Voice numbers set up so that we can even text them, or having an email set up if that's an ability they have. So there are all different things that we see our volunteers going above and beyond just being a veterinarian, which that in and of itself, I truly believe is a superpower. So we're so thankful that you're able to do that. And it sounds like you have a great support from the community. And obviously your passion is absolutely contagious. And that's what's bringing those volunteers to each clinic and getting them to spread the word and come back. So that's amazing that you've been able to do that.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much.
Yeah, and Sarah, I really appreciate the fact that you really think long term. And a few things as you were chatting kind of dropped in for me. But when I say long term, I mean not just long term for the volunteers. You want to make sure that they are kind of thinking out in advance, that they can kind of build, not necessarily build their lives around the next clinic, but that they're able to schedule their lives accordingly so that they can be available for the opportunity to help these individuals in Colorado Springs. But also the fact that you are so focused on educating individuals with your kind heart, I'm sure, in Colorado Springs. I think that's really important for us to highlight, because it shows that the work that we do, while it kind of feels immediate in the moment at these street clinics, it's also long term. We also have these clinics happening periodically throughout the year, and we are deeply invested in maybe inviting individuals who attend these clinics to think about things a little bit differently, to kind of view and maybe even challenge some of their misconceptions or previous conceptions about the benefits of spay and neuter, about bringing their pet back for a checkup in a few months. So I really appreciate that you're thinking long term, not only for your volunteer staff, but also for the long term health and benefit and education of the individuals in Colorado Springs. I think that's pretty freaking awesome. So yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome. And here's my favorite question to ask. Is there a person? Is there a pet? Is there one impactful moment that you can think of, or maybe a success story that you've experienced while working with unhoused pets and their people in your community that you'd like to share with us? Everyone's got at least one.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, this one's, it's kind of interesting because it really just happened maybe a week ago tops. There is an individual who is homeless, and I have seen them at least 2 or 3 times over the last year, maybe 2 years. And they have the coolest cat. This cat sits on their shoulder and kind of just hangs out, while they do their thing. And I've seen and I've talked to them before. It was probably 2 years ago, kind of the situation on the side of the road, and we got to chatting, and I happened to have some cat food, in the car, and I was like, well, here, this is all I've got, but please take it. And I'd always wanted to kind of follow up with them, and I've seen them randomly, here and there, but it's always like I'm on one side of the highway and they're on the other. I'm going north, they're going south. Like, it's just never been able to meet back up until about a week ago when I was driving home, and I saw this individual and their cat perched on the shoulders, riding their bike, kind of right next to my house. And so I, quickly kind of like got in front of them with my car, parked in my driveway. I didn't want to be super creepy, and got out and just kind of like, pretending to look at my flowers until they passed me by. And I was like, hey, and I kind of just started to say hi, and they were kind enough to stop their bike and realize that, I wasn't going to do them any harm. And we started chatting, and because I'm now volunteering with Street Dog, I was able to finally offer them some sort of like substantial supportive care and impactful follow-up. And so I said, hey, I'm going to be hosting a clinic, and I gave them the date and time. And I said, I'd love to have you there, and we can just do an exam if nothing else, and kind of go from there with regards to getting your kitty up to date on everything that needs to be up to date on. And this person really just was so thankful, and they shared with me that, and I've had a couple other clients share this with me as well, but how you guys have mentioned with the veterans in particular, but just in general, these pets really save lives. Several of these pet owners have mentioned to me, including the cat's owner, I wouldn't be here without this cat, this dog, this bird, whatever it may be. And they mean it. They have many times have been unsuccessful in attempting suicide, and finally they found ownership of this animal and this human animal bond, and they no longer felt so alone in this world that they wanted to take their life. So this individual shared that with me, and it was really impactful. We're like standing on the side of the street next to my house, but we're really having a very powerful moment of connection. And it really all has to do with this cat, that really saved the owner's life. And it was wonderful then to be able to say, well, hey, let's take care of your cat, which you've already been doing, but let's do an exam. Let's get up to date on vaccines if we're not already. And so that was really impactful. And that was really cool to finally be able to like offer more than just cat food, and be like, hey, here, come to my clinic. Here's where it's going to be. Thankfully you're mobile, you have this bike, so I know you can get there if you choose to come. And so it seems like it'll have a really good story. So I was very, very grateful to have that interaction, just purely by chance, so that was awesome.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Yeah.
And you do, Street Dog Coalition, and yes, we're the Street Dog Coalition, but we see cats,
Yeah.
we see bunnies, bellied pigs. There's, we do the best we can. We're probably most equipped for cats and dogs, but I always want to give a shout out to the other animals that may be the companion for people we meet. But it really does empower you as a volunteer to no longer feel helpless, right? And feel that I'm seeing someone in a situation with their animal that's potentially unsafe, or where they aren't getting the care they need, both for the person and their pet. And now to be able to do exactly what you did and know, like, I have information, I have the skills and the power and the ability to actually help you, and be able to open that door of trust with that person, that I am here just to help you with your cat. I'm not going to take your cat away. I'm not going to report anyone to any authorities. I'm just here to provide care and compassion and love to these people. And they really do find purpose in their pets and that relationship that they share. So that's such a great story of one of the just very small but so powerful interactions. And I think probably most of our team leads have those stories, all the time, which is incredible, because I remember back before I got involved with the Street Dog Coalition, I often did feel hopeless and helpless when I saw some of the sadness that was out there, and especially people that were clearly unhoused and with their pets, and I just didn't know how best to help them. And now having that ability and having those clinics planned in advance, we know transportation can be a huge challenge for a lot of the people that come to our clinics. So that's an amazing thing that allows those people to make those plans and find a way to get there so they can take advantage of the services that we're able to offer.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I agree. I agree, Hillary. And I think, the standout moment here for me, Sarah, is all that you've done to protect the human animal bond between these individuals and their pets. And I love the point that you made, Hillary, in terms of, we're not here to take your animals away. As a matter of fact, we're here to make sure that you remain with your animal, that both you and your animal stay happy and healthy. And I think what's so great about the work that we do is we have this ability to kind of zoom out and identify barriers, potential barriers that might come between this individual and keeping their pet, right? Whether it's a health barrier, whether it's a transportation barrier, whatever it is. Sometimes these individuals, they have a lot on their plate. They have a lot going on, and they don't always, I think, have the the perspective that we have to identify potential barriers down the road. So I love that we do that, and I love that we work to gain the trust of these individuals, to alleviate these barriers, educate them about these barriers, so that they can remain with their pets and stay happy and stay healthy, and most importantly, stay together, because that's what we're always trying to do. And I really appreciate the fact that you both uplifted that human animal bond. And before I let you go, Sarah, I have one more question for you.
Sure.
In your humble opinion, what would you say is the best way for people in Colorado Springs to get involved with the Street Dog Coalition and contribute to the life-changing work that you're doing?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. I am fortunate to have a stable host facility for my clinics, which is the Springs Rescue Mission. They're located downtown. They are a fantastic organization, and they provide not only food, shelter, laundry services, a place for pet owners to house their pets, but they also connect their residents with services to kind of enrich their lives, and eventually, if the person wants to kind of move past the situation that they're currently facing. And so I am so grateful to be able to kind of work within and among them. And so anybody who's interested, you can definitely come out. You can email Springs Rescue Mission. You can email me. My webpage through the Street Dog Coalition is up and running, and it's pretty up to date as far as I know.
It's very up to date.
Okay, I was like, I haven't been the best about contributing to
it. and we'll also include a link for individuals in the show notes to our website, so that you can check out the Colorado Springs page and reach out that way as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Sarah. I just wanted to interject with that.
No, I'm glad you did. So yeah, echoing off of that, yeah, please. If you're really interested, either email me or go to the webpage. My email's on there. Again, it's a Street Dog Coalition Gmail account. But there's so many ways. If you can't offer, if you're not able to offer, your time or services, I mean, money is very helpful. It opens up the doors to so many things. So monetary donations always are appreciated and valued. And I know the Street Dog Coalition has a Venmo page, and that is huge. And it goes to the most kind of need-oriented, avenue within the Street Dog Coalition at that moment. That's really in need of donations. So yeah, anything you can do is super helpful and very much appreciated.
Thank you so much, Sarah. I really appreciate that. And I know that individuals in our audience who are listening, they're always looking for ways to get involved. And I want to let everyone know that, whether you're donating your time or you're making a financial contribution, really every dollar counts, every hour counts. So I know it can be daunting to try something new and you're kind of wondering, well, does it even matter? And please know that it does matter, and that your time and your financial support, it goes directly into these street clinics, and it goes directly into clinics where it's needed most. And we truly couldn't do this work without our listeners, and we certainly couldn't do this work without you, Sarah, without you, Hillary. And I want to thank you both so much for taking the time to chat with me today and to give us a little bit of insight into what you're working with over there in Colorado Springs, Sarah. That community is so lucky to have you. We are so lucky to have you. You're such a delight, and you really are just this force for good inside of our street dog family. I knew that about you before this conversation, and now it's like official.
Oh, thank you. That is very sweet. Thank you so much. That really means a lot. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. And thank you, Hillary, so much for your time. And I look forward to chatting with you both again, probably via email very soon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Thank
Bye,
you
All
so
right,
much,
ladies.
Sarah.
Thank you.
so
And
much.
thanks to everyone listening. Take care, everyone.